So next time we check out The Lore of FTL, a deep dive by SaadTheGlad. I've been told FTL is a 2012 game, and it involves, I'm assuming, spaceships, because spaceships! I don't really care what happens after this, because I know I'm going to love it for that reason alone. I am very biased in favor of spaceships, man, because they're cool, and I don't care who you are, that's the truth.
Hello everyone. So, I've been playing a lot of FTL recently, and while I was committing casual
This is what, you get to actually build ships, don't you? Or do you just get to buy them like this?
war crimes with my Mantis and blowing up ships left, right, and center, I wondered, why am I doing this? Where am I? Who are these weird slug creatures, and why are there giant alien spiders that are definitely no joke whatsoever?
Giant alien spiders are no joke. Oh god.
However, well, in this video, we'll figure that out, along with the lore that this game hides, and some Easter eggs here and there. I hope you enjoy.
That's familiar. Ships coming apart. Marine combat. Lasers, fires. Oh, different types of lasers are reflected as well. The lore of a hidden gem. And you can buy modules according to Valerian, and upgrade systems as well according to Martin.
So FTL is a roguelike space simulator that's just the most addicting game ever. The main gameplay loop consists of destroying ships and micromanaging your crew, and it is hard. Like insanely hard. My first win only came after around 130 tries.
How long do these try take? Like, if each try was like a day of gameplay, that's actually probably the biggest endorsement for how addictive this game could be than anything. Or how masochistic you are, because that sounds like something that the Botany Corporation would like.
But when you hit that laser beam just right, and your burst laser 2 lands all 3 volleys, it's completely worth it. The reason why you're doing all of this is because of a massive intergalactic war between the Federation and the Rebels. The Federation are the good guys, and you're on a secret mission tasked with delivering a data packet, which was intercepted from a Rebel fleet.
You're literally doing Star Wars. Okay, I mean, sure, why not?
You need to get this to the Federation fleet in order to help them with destroying the Rebel flagship, which...
Also, I'm being told this is a roguelike, and there's an easy mode. It's not easy.
...is extremely powerful. Thing is, this data pack Meduhiki is practically useless, and it's never revealed what it is exactly, but there is a bit of speculation we'll talk about later. Before we delve into the main races that this game has, and what's the bulk of the lore...
I'm assuming that it's more than just humans, in which we saw the slug-like things already.
We need to know what the Federation and the Rebels are, how they operate, and what the hell that they're fighting about in the first place.
The War of the Federation and the Rebels. Reverse Star Wars.
When the game begins, a war has already been raging on between the Federation and the Rebels, and we're never explicitly given the reason for
Is that a giant space bug, Mantis? Oh god.
This war. But there are 2 main ideas that I think are likely. First one is simply racism. The Federation as a government is multiracial and encompassing of all species, but the Rebels just happen to be human supremacists who don't like that the Federation is trying to establish peaceful coexistence.
Oh yeah, so literally reverse Star Wars. This would be the Empire.
Various races.
Except they're not the ones in charge.
They also believe that the Federation's limits on intergalactic expansion and antiquity prevents humans from reaching their full potential.
Antiquity? Oh, probably valuing things that are probably already there. And because I can, probably.
Just a lot of sharp ideological differences. And what do you get with too many ideological differences? That's right, civil war and millions of deaths. And the Rebels have been winning it. The Federation is all but completely crippled and has withdrawn a majority of its forces to one single sector where the last stand will take place, the last part of the game. As for the second reason for starting this war, it's not stated in-game directly, but this comment brings up the idea that the rebellion started following the aftermath of the Federation and the Mantis War, which we'll address later.
There's been more than one war. And a Mantis War implies a non-human species, and they talked about giant space bugs. I'm assuming this is one of the developers. It wasn't the Engi or Zoltans who were fighting and dying in Federation Mantis War. It was the humans, the farmers and the factory workers of outer planets who fought and died to the insectoid menace. And I'm assuming these are the 2 other species in the Federation. And they probably had a bunch of people who felt like they were abandoned. So they're lashing out now. After the war, when the much-promised relief never came, you would still salute to the tattered Federation, or would you stand up for your independence? In other words, they did the classic thing of fucking over the veterans. Funny how this is completely believable. It's happened multiple times in American history. Yeah, hell, it's happened prior to American history.
And since the Federation never repaid the humans who fought there, they rebelled and sought independence.
Yep.
Some extra points that explain the rebels' stance on the war are mentioned here. They believe that they will form a better galaxy after the war and a safer world. There's also this interesting but albeit confusing line. A rebel ship approaches cautiously. "Personally," says the captain, "I'd have stuck with the Federation, but I'm a soldier, sir, and I'm no use without a war to fight. Raise your shields." A war is fought on both sides, so why not stick with the Federation? It could be possible that they would have
Might be payment and wanting to survive, and if you're on a losing team, you don't really want to join the losing team. Or, well, if you're on the winning side, you don't want to join the losing team.
stripped him of his role as captain, or that he knew which one's the losing side and promptly
Yeah.
defected. Another line which shows how truly corrupt the rebels are is this. "Humans are treated as equal to the aliens in the weak Federation. The sacrifice of billions of alien or human lives are justified if it means we reach our full potential," they charge. Now, one interesting thing I know
And they're, of course, being used as cannon fodder against you, unless they're actually really difficult. I don't know how difficult individual enemies are. Also, Kryn, Roman Republic did it too? Yep. Oh, yeah, that's not a specific government thing. That's all of them do it everywhere, all the time. It's most of them. If you find a government that doesn't fuck over vets, that's kind of unbelievable almost.
notice is that in this universe, the rebels are the bad guys and not the Federation, the once all-powerful government. Since in these types of stories, it's usually the rebels that are standing up against an oppressive regime. But in this case, it would be far better if the status quo was upheld. And in any case, the side that wants to do some change is just a bit too racist. The galaxy is a massive
Although he has pointed out that the side that wants to make the change and is doing it the wrong way. No, actually, this isn't Star Wars. This is Skyrim in space. Huh. Yeah, because it would be the people, the Stormcloaks, who got absolutely screwed over after the end of a war. That would make more sense.
place, and there are quite a few alien races inhabiting it. But before we talk about the exciting stuff, we first have the common and uninteresting human.
Oh?
Humans are the most boring race in the game, and have no special characteristics or lore, which is good, as it leaves more room to explore the more intriguing alien races. They make most of the Galactic Federation and 100% of the Rebellion, so I guess you could say that they're special in the case that they're trying to conquer the galaxy. Some things never change, I guess.
Yeah.
The Engi are a particularly interesting species, in that we don't really know what they are exactly.
Because they previously mentioned the Engi weren't involved. I wonder if they're going to be the equivalent of engineers or energy.
Are they robots? Are they organic beings that just happen to look like robots?
Oh.
Or are they both? The in-game description reads, "It's unclear if the Engi are partly organic or entirely mechanical, but it's well known that they make
they're literally
exceptional
engineers.
engineers, hence the name." It's also mentioned in the game that human scientists argue over how they're even able to exist, whether they're organic life forms or sentient machines. They still require oxygen to survive, and so it's accepted that they're a bridge between organic and robotic.
Oddly enough, we have tech like that on Earth right now. Although it's, tech is a phrase, but people built out neural pathways that a computer would take, but they made them a little too large. And then they started growing fungus into it, and the strands started acting like a very basic computer. Fungal computing. Yeah, there's a lot of things I just said that are still creepy to me.
Despite them consisting of nanites. In one event in the game, you come across a giant Engi construction yard, and you see Engi working together, forming massive organic machines, building ships.
Oh.
They're very malleable in their appearance, but choose to maintain a bipedal one out of habit. This implies that this form is either one that is instinctual to maintain, or it was programmed in, or that they simply observed other species and noted that a bipedal stance was the most commonly used,
Yeah.
and thus decided to copy it to appear more approachable. Despite the Engi being engineering geniuses, they're very weak and fragile.
Really?
As their inner workings are not as tough as the organic material in humans.
Oh, so they're not doing the machine makes them strong. It's more, machine is incredibly delicate. If you hit the PC wrong, it will destroy itself. Huh. I guess that is the other way to treat machines in a fictional setting.
humans, so they're poor fighters, which also explains why they prefer defense drones in their combat style, so as to compensate for their weak physique. Another event that gives us a hint as to their nature is this one. Even though each individual Engi is made up of trillions of nanomachines, their culture still revolves around traditional social interactions.
Oh.
A nearby station seems to be constructed for entertainment of passing Engi travelers. This gives off the feeling that the nanomachines they're made of are more like fundamental building blocks rather
Almost a perfectly silica-based life form at that point. Huh. It's interesting how they don't really know much about a faction that is on the team then.
than a full-on machine, much like the cells we're made out of.
Yeah.
I say this because I thought about the collective consciousness that each Engi has, and I wonder at which point do they become conscious, and what does it feel like when they combine together? Maybe it's something like the giant woman from Steven Universe for...
What? I don't know anything about Steven Universe. I don't know what's going on. Why does it have 4 arms? There's a lot I'm missing, isn't there?
lack of a better example. And they still maintain their individuality even when combined. Who knows? We also know that they can't feel fear from this event. Engi can't feel fear, so they bear you no ill will when you explain you're unwilling to help. They set off on their journey and you do the same. So it could be that their evolution didn't require it, or maybe because that's their half-computer part being super nonchalant.
Oh.
Which wouldn't make much sense, since they still need to have some self-preservation, as they can still die. They can also be infected by both computer viruses and organic viruses, so that's a funny side effect.
Oh, that's horrible. I wonder why they can be so they're made up of nanomachines, but they're affected by biological functions. Are they just replicating biology too well, or also I'm being told it was a fusion, 2 people combined into a giant person or more? Oh.
Effect of having a bit of both things. Engi society is also quite interesting. They seem to place a lot of value in machinery and technology, and are very research-oriented. One of the events reads, "The Engi don't feel things the same way other species do. They want the tech to be saved. Your crew returns safely to the airlock with the drone control, and you put some distance on the station before it blows." They put more priority on their tech. This could be because they're just built like that, or they think that the technology they create outlives any one of them, and their purpose is to keep creating and reach higher and higher technological advances.
Is it bad that all I can think is they sound like a successor species, but not an intentional successor species? Like, they sound like they're designed to interact with a species that no longer exists and just didn't survive when they did, and they're just acting out the role they were given. I've seen that in other fiction, but I have no idea if it would apply here or not.
Which would be pretty cool. Another thing in this game is that the race's ships highlight their nature pretty clearly.
Oh?
Engi ships are circular, which allows easier maintenance, and drone usage, which are always...
Okay, this is just me being dumb. Why would a circular ship have easier maintenance? Would it always have an access point to get into something you'd have to cut through? Or, I guess, no, they need air, so that doesn't work. How does that work?
defensive. Their ships are also built from other ship parts and look like piles of junk that have been welded together without rhyme or reason. In fact, it's just that they don't care about aesthetics, and their designs are actually very efficient.
Oh?
Engi also possibly have the funniest event in the game. You hop into a beacon and come across 2 Engi ships that are intertwined, in a consolidation of sorts.
Oh?
If you have an Engi crew member, he explains that they're using each other to achieve a union, and the matter is a bit embarrassing and personal. Yeah, it's Engi sex.
They're having ship sex. Because if they're a bunch of smaller beings, they're making bigger beings. So I guess there's a third level. So there's the nanomachine base. There's probably the Engis that you mostly know. And then the bigger level above that would probably be the giant machines they make or the ships they're in. I guess the ships would also be an Engi at that point.
It just happens to be the name of the event in the files.
Okay.
It actually makes sense in game, because their ships are described as a bunch of parts loosely held together. And this is how they make new ships and new Engi, by, quite literally, smashing each other. Beautiful. The role of the Engi in the war is also significant, as they are the strongest supporters of the Galactic Federation, since it's in their best interest that it be restored, and so they secretly aid them, despite having made a non-aggression pact with the rebels. The Federation commissioned the Engi to build them the stealth cruiser ship, the Nesasio, and while the project was finished during the rebellion, it was never delivered to the Federation because of the pressure from the rebels. This also happened despite the non-aggression pact, and they attempted to steal the stealth cruiser by disguising as Mantis ships so as to still appear neutral. The Engi also have interesting interactions with the other races. Their
that means they're also very good at subterfuge. Oh.
allies of the Zoltan and have been preyed upon and enslaved by the Mantis after the collapse of the Federation. We'll get to both of these soon, because of their general weakness. They're also mostly peaceful, but have a hard time understanding people who aren't like them. The Engi are focused on the development of their race.
People who don't understand those who are not like them. That is so completely and utterly understandable that it's not even funny. I mean, most people think like themselves and then project their beliefs on other people and don't understand when other people don't agree with them because they can't understand a thought that they don't think. Which sounds really complex, but it's actually really simple. For example, try and understand someone who enjoys the taste of human flesh. I can't do that. But that's a thought process someone has had because, oh dear God, what the fuck? But it's things like that where it's very different and you can't put yourself in that brain for something that's completely outside of your frame of reference. And in this case, I would like to keep it that way. Thank you very much.
And despite their seemingly cold nature as complex calculating machines, they have a rich culture and societal values, which provides a nice contrast that makes them very memorable as a race.
The Zoltan, the other one mentioned already.
The Zoltans and the Engi go hand in hand. They're allies of each other, and they're both pretty chill and peaceful.
Oh.
The Zoltans do happen to be more on the fanatical side, though.
Oh.
They're made out of energy, and it's stated in-game that they were once organic.
Once organic? Okay, we're going full transorganism. I was going to say organism, but then I realized organism halfway into that is an actual word. Huh. So we've gone for the immediate sci-fi tropes of energy beings and tech beings, so what's left is probably just the obligatory alien chick and someone that's a furry.
A long time ago, but have since transcended to a form of pure energy.
Huh.
The Zoltans have quite a bit of untold history, as it's mentioned that they are the most ancient race in the galaxy, and were pretty powerful in their prime. However, now they're not as influential, and to most players of the game are just considered to be portable batteries, as their innate energy can power ship systems.
Oh.
Their ships also give us a clue to their peaceful nature. They're rounded and are comprised of organic shapes and curved surfaces, gentler than some of the other ship designs we'll come across. These little facts are well and good, but the most interesting facet of the Zoltans is that they're magic. In one of the events in Zoltan space, you come across one of them that can open a rift in space-time, or a wormhole.
Oh, never mind, they're actually just magic. I thought they were like making a joke, but like, oh yeah, they work in this game and there's just magic on the ship. Like, no, it's literal magic.
Which summons the ship for you to fight. There's also the Zoltan Great Eye, the event reads. Inside this nebula, you detect a rogue planet drifting through space. On its surface, a huge monolith visible at this distance, even to the naked eye.
Dude.
A Zoltan elder hails you from the planet.
Who intent you have discovered the Great Eye. Look into its depths and receive your just desserts.
What does it do?
If you pull your ship closer and RNGesus isn't on your side, a kaleidoscope of colors fills the screen. One of your crew starts to age rapidly in reverse, eventually disappearing into nothingness. Not even the clone bay, which in most cases manages to revive a lost crew member, can bring them back in this case.
Oh, shit.
Quite strange.
Okay, so crew death is not a guaranteed removal. And this is one that, if you're not lucky, immediately just removes you. Does that mean there's a possible good end to that where you get something else?
Another hallmark characteristic of the Zoltan is the energy shield that they have on their ships, which uses the energy from an FTL jump to recharge itself.
Oh.
The final flagship...
Wait, how often can the FTL jump then? I'm assuming there's a limit to that, because otherwise, that sounds like it'd be really good if we get stronger shields by moving out of the way.
...wants this technology as well, so it's not specific to the Zoltans only. However, it seems that they are its pioneers. Zoltan society prides itself in being peaceful and entirely just. There are many instances in the game where they're being diplomatic and presumably go on peace missions. Even the way to unlock their ship is acquired through non-violent measures.
Oh.
They're fair when dealing with others, but...
So you can unlock new ships. Because right now, I've only seen him use the one ship design, so I assume you just get the one and you play through it on the game. But apparently not. And according to Purple or Magatar, you don't always have a clone bay. Because I was told this is a roguelike game, so you can get different ships probably in different aspects.
But despite the fact that they're super bureaucratic, obtuse, and can sometimes even appear as though they're looking down on species, which...
Oh.
I mean, yeah, they're the oldest race and quite literally have the moral high ground, so maybe they're allowed a bit of that.
Yeah.
However, not every single Zoltan is morally just, and just like every society, outliers exist. As you can guess, they're very much against the war, and take their border control extremely seriously, so you can get on the wrong side pretty easily if you don't respect their rules. This paints an image of them being the most politically and socially developed race, And for good reason. They even have identity cards that are neuro-laced or something,
What?
presumably wired into their brains or whatever constitutes one in their photon-filled physique.
Identity cards? Oh, it's probably how they're able to maintain self without just dispersing into energy.
One interesting line that highlights how foreign they are to the rest of the species is this. The Zoltan are fascinated by other species, and have set up something of an alien knick-knack shop here. Why not take a look? It's funny because this makes them seem like the super intelligent alien species that figured out everything way before, and everyone else is like ants to them. I wish it were highlighted more in the game though, as it seems like the Zoltan are on more equal footing with the other races, and I guess it makes sense from a gameplay perspective.
So in other words, they're basically playing a separate tech tree, so what everyone else thinks is normal, they're like, what the fuck? Oh, that's so cool. Kind of makes sense. Like if you spec'd into strictly FTL and magic and ignored things like cooking. Because why would that need to happen?
As you don't want them to be overpowered. One final thing about their overall shtick is that they're trying to spread peace and harmony throughout the galaxy, as shown by this line. They continue,
Oh?
We take your silence for interested contemplation. We talk at length about peace and harmony, but either it's beyond your simple mind or it's all nonsense.
Oh.
They finish. Please, spread the word of enlightenment to those who have not heard. Once you have, contact our brethren. They transmit coordinates of their so-called brethren. So to me, it seems like they're objectively the best race in the game.
Is there a but coming, or is that just actually the case? Oh. That's a thing you can do.
As they don't have any ulterior motives or try to spread propaganda like some other races will see, which gives more weight to this line. We have been studying the relationships between the species and have determined that the Federation still has the potential to be a net positive for the galaxy. Please accept this gift to aid your journey.
I'm assuming these are the stats you use for your various ship refueling points, maybe? I don't know what they do yet. Oh, also, King, I'll pull up your comment. So, King Dragon, 1, thank you very much. 2, hey, Airier, have to go to work. Ooh, sorry about that. Can I have the request to kill the Sacred Worm by Curious Archive or the entire Marvel Cosmology by Sir Superhero? Yeah, sure, let me just pull up a poll to see which one people want to add in. Not sure either one will happen because recommendations or whatever happens with chat, but I would love to add either one. Okay, I'll just leave that up to chat to choose.
Meaning that the Federation is genuinely good for the galaxy, no matter what the rebels might think.
Although I'm curious about his sentence about how not all of them are just. Are there like rebel factions of them who may be aiding the other side? Huh. Also being told by Martin, that's what currency for upgrades and repair look like. Oh, and ammo as well. That makes sense. And the currency was rocket drones and scrap. Huh. Mantis. This was the thing they had the war with?
The Mantis. Murderous, malevolent, and mean to do harm to every living creature they see, including sometimes themselves.
Oh.
I really love the Mantis because they're so unapologetically evil. They commit war crimes on a day-to-day basis and feel proud doing so. From the descriptions that we get in the game, we learn that they're very aggressive and barbaric, and in order to carry out their many murders, they make use of their sharpened exoskeletal appendages to tear through any creature that dares to stand in their path, even rocks. They also possess extremely acidic saliva, which can burn through flesh and melt most metal alloys.
Oh, yep, that would do it. They can really probably just go through rocks with their spit alone. God, that's terrifying.
Oh, and to make their presence even more foreboding, their language is comprised of clicks, gurgles, and grating rattles.
Ugh.
However, they do have an endearing way to greet each other, through some sort of alien haka, which is a Maori dance that involves the entire body in vigorous rhythmic movements, which may include swaying, slapping of the chest and thighs, stamping, and gestures of stylized violence. Pretty fitting.
Huh. So I'm assuming murderous warrior culture that also just has a very movement-based interaction, but then also based on clicks and all the other sounds that most people can't replicate easily.
If the Zoltans were to be considered the forces of good, then the Mantis are definitely the forces of unadulterated slaughter. They kill without remorse, just to satisfy their own personal agendas, and disregard survival or any other non-existent moral values.
Oh.
Aside from them being a warrior race, they're also deceptive, cunning, untrustworthy, and hunt down weaker enemies for their belongings. The most prominent example of this is the Engi, whom they attack and take as slaves to work on their ships and other...
Yeah, that makes sense. Ooh. Also, I'll pull up your comment. So 1, Hugo, thank you very much too. Hey, Airier, I recommend replacing Gilderoy with Gandalf. Oh, in Harry Potter. That sounds absolutely hilarious. Mostly because it involves more Gandalf. And I just love that as a guaranteed everything about this is awesome and everyone should love it. I just think that's cool.
Their projects, since they're hopelessly inept at any form of engineering.
Also, I'm being told by Valerian, there's a cool event where you see it's all nurture and no nature, since there's a peaceful mantis who was raised by humans. Wait, they were peaceful after being raised by humans? Oh, that's weird. Also, Atomic, you mentioned gems are sentient alien raw computers that project a body of hard light from the gem. They don't view organics as equal. Are we talking about this game or Steven Universe? I have absolutely no idea which one you're talking about. It could go either way.
As shown here. A nearby Mantis mining operation is clearly using heavy Engi slave labor. You briefly consider the possibility of emancipating the slaves, but the Mantis presence is too formidable.
Oh.
You decide to lay low. They also use their ships as disguises to trap unsuspecting travelers.
What?
Speaking of ships, even their designs evoke danger. They have spikes and sharp angles, and their primary method of combat is the close, in-your-face kind. So they have boarding parties, sometimes accompanied with Rockmen, for maximum carnage.
Rockmen? Someone mentioned this to the other species of sentient rocks.
They would also rather kill everyone on board a ship rather than destroy it, which is a strategy that's beloved by many players since it yields more scrap per encounter.
Oh.
Which could be another reason the Mantis do it as well.
To be fair, there's a lot of games where killing off the person running it is a great way to do things. MechWarrior 5, I'm looking at you with headshots.
The Mantis have also had a history with Earth, unsurprisingly, as they warred against the Federation and invaded the planet.
They did mention... Oh, they invaded
Even
Earth.
children are told tales of their red ships and of the invasion. I'd like to think that in this universe, Mantis are the crux of horror stories and movies around the globe. Although I don't know if it would be considered a sensitive topic and thus taboo. Who knows? What's also interesting...
A man bursts out of the light pod screaming and claws his way into a corner. A rare survivor of Mantis captivity. Once calm, the survivor offers to join your crew for a time.
is that the Mantis have a deep hatred for humans.
Why?
Presumably because of the Federation, and seek to punish them and kill them en masse, as shown by this line.
Oh.
You overhear Mantis calm chatter.
Negative, I've killed more humans.
You gulp noticeably, but luckily they don't notice you yet. Along with comparing kill counts, they also seem to keep human fingers, perhaps as trophies.
It's one of those. Yeah, that's just par for cursed. All right.
Overhear Mantis calm chatter.
The one on the right is starting to rot. Take him down, take off his fingers, put him out of the airlock.
They certainly don't seem to be friendly.
Yeah, someone starts talking about taking my fingers. I'm going to assume they're not friendly as well. I'm going to distract myself now with the comment from Martin. The Mantis are just a species of organic pie brains, warlike and stuck at technology. Oh, yeah, that's terrifying. Oh, the gems are from Steven Universe? Oh, okay. And Stars, to be fair, Earth was the first time they encountered sapient life. Oh, they were. So it's just them the entire time.
Disdain for the Federation is most likely caused by the feeling that them and other aliens have slowed down the Mantis development and stopped them from reaching their full potential. Seems like this is a running theme with the rebels, so they probably could have gotten along if both weren't so xenophobic.
Which
You
is
might
the entire
assume
point
that
there.
the Mantis are based on the real-life praying mantis, which infamously have their female species bite off the males after Well, it doesn't seem to be the case, as their society is a patriarchal one, as shown by this line. A Mantis female comes on the vid screen. The females don't make it to authority unless they're particularly vicious. You power the weapons. There's a thread that speculates as to the reason why, and it could be because of human misogyny seeping into the writing, pirates deeming women on the oceans to be bad luck, or because the female mantis's job is procreation and the male's is to provide and lead, which makes more sense given the nature of the mantis, since they value power and strength over everything else.
And if they decide to carry the biological current IRL mantis traits over, yeah, the ones you see then that are guys are probably the fodder. I mean, that
Other
literally.
inbits from the in-game events show that they mainly congregate in clans and set up illegal colonies to expand their territory and populate. Also, in order to be mature in their society, you have to achieve a certain amount of kills. So little Timmy won't be considered an adult until he has sliced off enough heads. Most likely Slug ones, as they hunt for them on their home turf, and that's considered a test of honor for them. And finally, to illustrate that not every race in this game is comprised of individuals with exactly the same ideology, there are these lines. Merchants are not highly respected among the Mantis race, so few undertake the profession. You're mildly surprised to receive an advertisement from a nearby space dock. You decide to see what they have to offer. Identifying a Mantis trading post ahead.
Okay, so it's someone who would just break away because they can just do that. Interesting that they do show the variety, because a lot of sci-fi, when they show, this is what this faction is like, they stick to it unless something very specific happens to move the entire franchise forward. And oftentimes, it doesn't usually come up with individual species.
You signal
aren't the
them
main
so
ones.
that your approach won't be taken as a threat. The leader hails you.
You have scrap? Quickly come dock before the warriors see you.
Oh.
That last bit shows that either the warriors don't like the Mantis that are a bit too chummy with the other races, or they consider them to be traitors to their cause and therefore oust them.
Huh.
They also have a god of mercy, as shown by this line when you rescue a
What?
Mantis in an escape pod. The Mantis inside considers you a messenger from the god of mercy and demands to join your crew.
What?
It's surprising they even have this god in their pantheon, and is said by this comment it must be the most neglected. The Mantis merrily murder many, but they're kind of charming in their own twisted way, mainly because they're so evil to the point of being comical.
How evil are we talking? Like, what exactly did they do? I'm not going to like the answer, will I? Slugs. Oh, this is what the Mantis were hunting. Is that a good or a bad thing?
The only thing that differentiates the slugs from the mantis is that the former is weaker and slimier, but compensates for that by being 100 times more cunning and deceitful. Their
Oh.
in-game description reads, "These telepathic slugs were shunned in the Galactic Federation for their constant thievery and attempts at manipulation. Along with their
So that's why it was a badge of honor to kill a slug, because you're outthinking an enemy that's all about that.
untrustworthy nature that we're going to explore more in a bit, they have their telepathic abilities, which they acquired after developing on an ocean planet in order to overcome the general lack of visibility. This makes them very cunning conmen, and women as well, as unlike real-life slugs, here they're not hermaphrodites, and due to a
I did not know that about real-life slugs. That's a thing.
technicality with a death sound effect, it appears that they have a male and female gender. Some colors will use the male sounds and other the female ones. It's debatable whether this could be taken as canon
I have
and
no
not
idea
just
what
a
that is.
development oversight,
I'm assuming that's a slug model then. There's 3 separate ones. Okay.
but it's there nonetheless. Their ships are also uniquely designed,
Whoa.
resembling jellyfish, and they're colored purple to blend in with the nebulae environments which serve as their home.
Oh.
I really love the ship designs in this game. They're always so characteristic of the species that pilots them, and the art book shows a clear design process went into each and every one. Also, as for the fact that the nebulae is their home, it's not that they originated there, but rather just prefer it, since their telepathy gives them an advantage over ships that rely on sensors,
Because they could just ask someone else, depending on their range, what's up. Okay.
since those don't work in nebulae. They also do it to hide from other species for whatever reason. One event that plays when you enter a slug-controlled nebula tells us a bit about the slug's biology. This nebula is home to the telepathic slugs. They'd sell their own slime for a crate of scrap, but they much prefer to just take it. This implies that slime is important to them somehow, maybe like our kidneys, which is weird since don't they secrete it constantly? Or maybe it's something that's supposedly shameful to do, but do it anyways.
I feel like I'm missing context. And also showing how they'd rather steal and be tricked to get something, or be tricksy to get something, than actually just do something what we would normally consider more above board.
Who knows? It could be related to this very peculiar augment, slug repair gel. It reads, Slug ships excrete a thick gel that automatically repairs any hull breaches.
Oh!
It's not the slugs themselves that secrete the gel, but rather their ships, which is super strange. Are their ships semi-organic?
That sounds almost like the engineers, what I would expect just for a bunch of nanomachines to be able to make something, but no, apparently it's them instead.
Does it only seem like the ship is secreting it, but it's actually the slugs making and storing it? So many
How
questions.
many races are there?
But at least we know that their gel, mucus, or whatever you want to call it, has some restorative/reparative properties. They also speak with a sort of slip, but not all the time, which could be because it would be kind of annoying to have every single S accompanied with 5 more in the text. Or they only do it if they want to sound intimidating, since they're aliens and all, wouldn't put it past them. Now for their society,
Yeah, psychological effects do
which this
work.
line gives a lot of insight as to how it is. The slugs that live in this nebula field are a leisure-centered civilization. Everything in slug life is done in the pursuit of more currency and on more time in which to spend it on extravagant ventures. This inevitably leads to much treachery in open space.
So they're all obsessed with leisure and getting money to have leisure, and they'll do anything, including screwing over anyone, to get to that. Which means they're probably very dedicated to non-leisurely things. It's literally work harder so you don't have to work harder. Also, Terran win the goal, and see, I'll just roll it over to the next one.
So slugs are capitalist, greedy, scammers, untrustworthy, and cruel thieves who care for nothing but material possessions.
This sounds so completely unique and unlike anything else in reality. I have no idea what it's a reference to.
Seems about right. We can also see that they're known for their pleasure cruises from this line. You head into the cantina for gossip. Topics of conversations in the cantina range from crop distribution microbes to the joys of slug pleasure cruises.
They're probably
This
just Vegas
treachery
in
and cunning
space.
manifests in the game in many ways, from them doing poor repair jobs to bait switch scams, but you can see it more clearly in the tactics they display in combat. While other races like the Mantis and Rock rely on pure brute force, slugs make use of all sorts of cunning and creative methods, like hacking, mind control, anesthesia, poison, suffocation, and what have you.
There's mind control. Of course the telepathic race has mind control. Is it at least something you can fight against, or is it just one of those fuck everyone? And according to Arthur, never trust a slug under any circumstance. Oh yeah, I'm getting that impression.
Very tricky race, and all the more interesting for it. Another aspect of their culture is that because of their telepathy, they can of course enter minds, but it's considered rude for a slug to enter another slug that is. It's completely fine for other races. In order to do that, a slug must engage in a duel of minds, as shown by this event. Your slug crewman's eyes glaze over as the two telepaths concentrate. You can only wonder what is happening. After a short time, your comrade grunts in pain and collapses onto the floor, stunned. Knights responds,
Ha! It'll take more than that to defeat me. Let the real battle begin.
Oh.
Your slug crewman's eyes glaze over as the two telepaths concentrate. You are powerless to help, but after a short time your comrade shakes off the daze and appears victorious. His face contorted with pain, Knights concedes his defeat.
If this is the caliber of subordinates you keep, there is no way we can defeat you. Take this and let us leave in shame.
So there's actually scripted possibility pathing. I'm only pointing that out because I wasn't entirely sure if you encounter this, you have to guarantee a loss by engaging with it. But no, there's still something. It's either random or maybe based on how you've built things up, things change. That's actually pretty cool. Also, according to Arthur, slugs are immune to mind control. Oh, of course they are. Fucking slugs.
Slugs are Jedi confirmed. This is also the only event where we see an honorable slug, as he utilized no trickery and humbly accepts his defeat if you manage to win against him.
Oh.
The Federation could have used him as captain or something, and it's true that the slugs have been a part of it once, but they've used their telepathic powers for trickery and with us exiled. Probably for the best.
Yeah.
The slimy and selfish slugs, despite constantly scamming and scheming, are, much like the Mantis, charming in their own depraved way. They don't care about dignity or honor. Those words might as well not exist in their language, and I really doubt they do. But they are pretty powerful, and having one on your crew is always a plus, despite the slimy mess and occasional sneaking into one's mind.
Ugh. The Lanius. At least they're not Lannisters. That would be very different.
With the addition of the Advanced Edition update to the game, a new race was sighted across the galaxy.
So I know this game came out in 2012, so there's at least one update that happened. I don't know how many there are or how many there can possibly be. For all I know, this is a game that's been getting yearly or bi-monthly updates. I don't know. So it could be way bigger than the initial game for all I know.
The Lanius. These anaerobic beings are truly alien, and possess a terrifying passive ability.
They literally have the aliens from the movie Alien head, but then what looks like flying spike fins that just scream Gundam to me. No, maybe it's more like a Sentai kaiju.
To suck any area which they occupy clean from oxygen. Along with that, they're also made of metal, and rely on it as a source of sustenance.
Oh.
They feed off scraps and ships and random technologies. If you go into an abandoned sector, which is the only sector where you can find Lanius, and you get some of these lines. This sector has been largely abandoned since a series of battles decimated the local population. An unusual race is reportedly scavenging in the area. You'd better be on guard. This sector was the site of many major battles between the Federation and Rebel fleets. Strangely, there is very little evidence of those battles
Because they
remaining.
eat the scraps.
There have been a number of reports of advanced ships salvaging the wrecks and abandoned mining facilities in this sector. Could it be that the Lanius have resurfaced?
Oh, they know about them
I
already.
really love how this portrays the Lanius as a species. They're scavengers and very objective-oriented. Their goal is to feed, and that's it. This, combined with the fact that their language is almost indecipherable, makes them seem like hard-willed killer robots that will destroy anything in their path.
And they definitely have the look of something that screams final boss, although I'm getting the impression that's not the case.
They're not exactly like that, and we're not even sure if they're robots or not, because it's never specified in-game if they are robotic, or just some really bizarre and freaky aliens that are made
Could
of
go either
metal.
way for all I know.
Their name is
Also, I'm being told by Valerian, these guys are really cool if you only have them in crew. They're basically the galaxy's vultures. So their stomach is massively acidic and can even kill smallpox. Pretty damn cool.
also a reference to their somewhat brutal nature, as it is Latin
Oh.
for butcher.
Oh.
They are, however, definitely useful. One event has you docking with a Lanius transport, and you meet some people, race not mentioned, who have been studying the Lanius' ability to reshape metal. The researchers respond. We haven't the foggiest idea how it works. They appear to meld parts of their bodies into the metal and reshape it. They have been willing to demonstrate their ability if you have some extra metal that you'd like to convert it into something. If you do give some scrap, you can either choose an augmentation, a weapon, or a drone schematic. The event reads. You transfer.
How hard are upgrades of that nature to get? Because if a random event could give you something really good with options, that sounds like it would be a very big upgrade. But I could be very off on this one.
Over the scrap and watch the master craftsmen work. They easily reshape the metal into pieces they can use, and then add various additional materials on their ship to construct the weapon. You thank them and load it onto your ship. The game then astutely observes that this could be of incredible importance to the manufacturing business. And rightfully so. I think that if the Lanius were to develop and wise up to how powerful their abilities actually are, they could rule the galaxy.
But they're apparently not that savvy, huh?
Maybe that is their eventual endgame, and right now they're just collectively having a pre-war snack. Another interesting detail is that they can detect waves and the such, as you can awaken some Lanius from hibernation. We'll get to that.
They
with
hibernate?
Your scan frequencies. This could be a hint that they are synthesized in nature, or have some biological mechanism to detect radio waves or something like that. I personally believe the latter purely because it would be cooler. Now for how in the world their oxygen-sucking mechanic works. It's never explained in-game, but there are a bunch of excellent theories I found while looking around. Before that, however, there's this event that takes place when you meet a virus on a station, and if you have a Lanius crew member, you get this option. Oddly enough, the Lanius seems aware of which computer the virus is present in, and proceeds to digest the terminal. There's a burst of O2, and the Engi ship powers down its weapons, no longer sensing the virus on board. This further supports that the
They literally just ate the virus. Yeah, space vultures. That's why they can digest horrible viruses in their stomach that nothing else could survive. That's literally what what vultures do. Also, yeah, one of the ways to get rid of some of the really nasty viruses that can survive fire is vultures. They're really good about that.
Lanius can tune into frequencies and shows that when they consume metal, they separate the oxygen from it, as they consider it an impurity. Could be that they just do this passively at all times to remove what they see as a contamination from the air around them, and oxygen happens to be the most significant, and so the one that's most clearly noticeable. Another theory is that it's toxic in some capacity to them, and they have to remove it or else risk some sort of poisoning. Or better yet, they see it as a corrosive substance.
To be fair, oxygen is legitimately very corrosive. It is the oxidizer. Because the freaking name, oxygen, oxidizer, yeah. It's a very dangerous substance if you don't literally need it to survive. It's a great way to fuck things up. Also, Cam, 1, thank you very much. 2, I'm going to pull up your comment. When it eventually loads. Here we go. Here, it seems you're already intending to watch more Lancer, but could you watch a bit today? I'm excited to see if you see some of the later stuff ZachTag covers. Oh no, more Lancer, how horrible. Yeah, I'll move it up. It's already in the guaranteed list, but I'll just move it up quickly. Give me 1 sec. Wrong button.
Metals oxidized.
Yeah, I don't know where Lancer was. Yeah, we'll move that just up a bit.
With oxygen and rust, the Lanius would have to make sure their metal is fit for consumption, and so remove it through some mechanism.
Yep. And like Magtar mentioned, maybe it's because oxygen causes rust. Oh, not just rust. Free radicals or something oxygen creates, or I think they're connected. I'm not quite sure what the interaction is because that would be a chemistry thing. But degradation, oxidization, rust, things just flaking away and dissolving, that's something oxygen does a lot of.
I'm sure that the developers didn't go this far into their thought process for this race, but there's always the possibility that they did, and so have left us little breadcrumbs to form our own theories and opinions.
Is this game still being updated? Because again, it's over 10 years old, so it's possible it has, but I would be surprised if it is.
Opinions on why and how such and such works. It's good fun, and makes it more immersive, as if you really were investigating a brand new alien species, you wouldn't know how they work top to bottom, and you would have to do some experimenting, theorizing, and quite a bit of speculation. Now that we've discussed how the Lanius work, or might work, biologically, their society is equally as interesting to investigate.
Oh?
The official FTL website gives us, or rather gave us, as it's been down for
well, that answers my question. If the official website's down, that means the game is probably dead. Hopefully it's not one of those, if we don't support it, you can't play it deals.
For quite some time. A pretty decent little summary. The Lanius have rarely been seen in Federation space, and no official diplomatic contact has ever been recorded.
Oh.
One widely held theory blames the Lanius for why there is so little evidence of ancient civilizations. The Lanius simply absorbed them. The Lanius are scavengers.
Oh, you can see them actually melting here. I guess that's the death effect. And it also means that they might not be joining any situations because they just don't need to, because I think they'll just survive.
Metallic life forms that rely on the absorption of minerals to sustain themselves. Their society ebbs and flows in hibernation cycles. They may lie dormant for many years, even while hurtling through space. As soon as they become aware of significant metal deposits, they reawaken. Usually this occurs in the dying stages of a galactic civilization, or in the wake of intergalactic war. Reports of reawakened Lanius have appeared in many of the war-torn and abandoned sectors of Federation space. Their arrival has created panic, as they indiscriminately seek our sources of metal, although more diplomatic individuals have suggested that they can be reasoned with.
Can they? Because people mentioned you can get them as crewmates, so I guess it's possible.
This gives us a lot of information. First, that this is not the first time that the Lanius have been sighted, and as another line in the game says, there have been a number of reports of advanced ships salvaging the wrecks and abandoned mining facilities
First time
in
I
the
heard
sector.
about them, yeah.
Could it be that the Lanius have resurfaced? Implying that this is not the first time that they've been in the galaxy. In addition, diplomatic relations have been made once, so they do respond to reason, and we'll see that they actually have a pretty solid moral compass, and the only reason they appear hostile is because of their need to scavenge metal, which, now that I think about it, can apply to a lot of predator animals, and well, humans too. There are some things though that show the Lanius not being that bad of a race. First of all, they've actually signed a treaty which promises to leave the property of sentient aliens alone. The game then says that if this is a widespread rule of this race,
Oh, so maybe not everyone follows it, but at least when they have someone in charge, it does that.
there appears to be many who disagree with it. This means that the Lanius have a government somewhere, which is kind of strange since they're such a scavenging race, and with their hibernatory, new word, nature would make even less sense. There's this particularly interesting event where you come across civilians that shows the Lanius hacked some civilian ships' FTL drives, but after scanning them, left and didn't suck them dry. This could be because they managed to discern that they're a civilian ship, and therefore non-combatant, so left them.
Or do they just not consider anyone who's about to get into a fight as an actual person, just eat them? Also, Duck, you mentioned hell. You hear the music in FTL a ton in Pancreas No Works videos? Really? Oh, so I guess that's one of his big inspirations then.
Alone.
Cool.
One ship also stopped another from melting a civilian's transport by firing at it.
Oh.
In another case, you question a local settlement, and they described the Lanius collecting all their metal and debris, and that they were warned off by a few ASB warning shots. They moved on, despite clearly having the firepower to overwhelm the settlements. Could be another case of the Lanius' virtuousness, or maybe they just didn't want to waste resources on them.
Yeah,
I'm
maybe.
convinced it's the former, as another line shows that they only target abandoned settlements, so they make a conscious effort to scavenge in peace with little casualties. Doesn't mean that
Vultures,
casualties
yeah.
aren't completely prevented, and in fact there are many events that show that rogue Lanius exist as much as the good ones, but the pattern of peace exists nonetheless. And one last thing.
Theoretically, if you got a rogue one, would they just be able to eat an entire ship, or is there like a mass consumption limit?
Which is this event.
Probably.
That frankly seems out of place, and I couldn't find a proper explanation as to what it means. It reads, you come across a human civilian ship preparing to leave the sector. They message you. We're getting out of here. There's some cult rambling about the spreading of the disease, humanitis. They forcefully boarded our ship and tried to open all of our airlocks, shouting, "Be purged. Is nowhere safe anymore?" The cult's race isn't specified, and it could be the Lanius, but they communicated too smoothly for that. It could be Lanius that have PTSD from Lanius.
Wait, what was that just popped up here?
Yes, but they communicated too smoothly for that. It could be Lanius that have...
Oh, totally not a different take. Yeah. Can you imagine if you made a mistake and just had to drop in a fixed bit of audio? I never do that because I never make mistakes. I'm just going to wait for the people who are commenting about the millions of mistakes I made within the last half hour to just get their fun out of that one.
They have PTSD from Lanius invasion and turned insane, so they think their problems are from within. Truly strange. If you have any idea as to what it means, leave it down in the comments below. Some little miscellaneous things that I'd like to include here.
Oh, the Lanius. I wonder how they interact with the Engi if they're already... Do the Engi appear like snacks to them? Oh, God.
There's an instance of a Lanius ship turning on another. It reads, "Sensors indicate a small Lanius cruiser in the process of salvaging another small Lanius ship. Before you have a chance to wonder what caused them to turn on each other, the survivor notices you and moves into attack."
So it's a more vicious one.
This could be either because of a feud of some sort, or maybe it was defected and he's being opportunistic. It would be interesting if it were a conflict, as I can only remember this case of two ships directly turning on each other. The only one that comes close is the Engi ships, but that's more turning each other on than anything.
Yep. Yeah, because they are their ships. Oh, yeah, that's
If you best a Lanius ship, you can get this surrender event. And I love
Also, I'm being told by Martin he doesn't have the bandwidth to upload the list of all the mistakes I made. Well, that's because there's no actual list you can upload. I am aware of that, because nothing has ever gone wrong in a stream.
how it describes the Lanius captain here. You receive an image of their captain, silhouetted by the destruction aboard their ship. It bows forward with the metallic appendages about its body doing the same. It appears to be requesting mercy. A captain's last dying attempt at salvation, while the world around him falls apart.
Oh.
Another thing that goes unexplained by the game is how the hell the Lanius managed to keep prisoners in their ship when they're completely devoid of oxygen. This thread has
Gas
some
tanks?
interesting theories, like maybe a single oxygenated room just for the prisoners, a spacesuit, you rescue the prisoners in the nick of time, or that the prisoner is half Lanius and half other race, which, yeah, I
Honestly, if it's half Engi, I could see that working because metal, but that would be very different.
wonder how that works. And finally, the Lanius Cruiser, which its unlock is unfortunately a kind of cop-out by the devs, since instead of having a special unlock event for it, you just get it after unlocking 4 ships, excluding the
Oh. Yeah, I guess there's really no other way to engage with them. Or was that cut content?
Astral Cruiser. The description does say entice the Lanius with a valuable fleet, and this could go both ways, meaning literally to give them a powerful fleet to have more influence, or that the fleet is just a really big feast. I'd like to
I think we know which one I personally believe.
think it's the latter. The Lanius eating the fleet you give them right after would be a funny sight. The
Yeah.
Lanius live their life lying in wait for the proper moment to just go ham and slurp down as much metal as possible, then back to sleep again. And they mostly make sure to just do it in abandoned sectors so as to not disturb anyone.
And no one
In
tries
my
to shoot
opinion,
them
they're
for
a
it
pretty
much.
chill race.
Much.
Despite the little hiccups that happen here and there, and those are probably caused by the language barrier anyways. Long live the Lanius.
How do they speak, anyways? The Rockmen. Yeah, these guys were mentioned working with the bugs. The Mantis.
In my opinion, the Rockmen might be the most unpleasant race in the game.
Really?
While they're not as murderous
So the murderous and the traitorous and the eating of the tech guys weren't the bad ones. The Rockmen are. Are they just like brutish and boring? Boring would definitely make things unpleasant.
as the Mantis, they are still warlike and the most xenophobic by far.
Oh.
They're also more isolated as a species. But before we delve more into that, we need to know what they're really like. Because despite what the name might suggest, they're not actually made of rock.
Oh?
But their skin is as hard and rugged as solid rock. The reason they're called that is because they were nicknamed it by humans. This is also supported by their description, which reads, "The Rockmen of Vrakos 5 are rarely seen and are known for their fortitude." Rockmen is in quotes. Moreover, they're the only species that has their home planet mentioned by name for some reason.
Wait.
They're instead made of
The only species. Does that imply that Earth isn't mentioned? I mean, I would normally think, no, there's no way that's the case. But at the same time, part of me is going, yeah, that might be the case.
silicon, and are highly resistant to heat, but not completely invulnerable, canonically at least.
Oh.
They're also generally very resilient, as one would guess, and in-game have 1.5 times health than that of a normal human. We also learned from a couple events that they don't have any internal organs. Mantis
How? I mean, we got the entire energy race before, so maybe they're just more heavy physical shell around energy being? Also, Earth was mentioned? Oh, okay. Yeah, because they mentioned the Mantis invaded it.
ship here is adorned with rock
point.
body parts. It would be a gorier display if they had internal organs, but the message is clear enough. This is a hunter of a very specialized kind. Despite
to
that,
know.
it's mentioned that their digestion system is very robust. So which is it? Organs or no organs? Could be that they have something similar to how frogs breathe, and it's somewhere in their skin.
I'm sorry, what?
Organs. Could be that they have something similar to how frogs breathe, and it's somewhere in their skin.
Do frogs breathe through their skin? Well, this is news to me. kind of moderately terrifying too.
More tests need to be conducted.
I did not know that. I was not expecting to find that out in this video.
Have gender, as there is an event that has you rescuing a rock bride Ariadne. Along with that, they can also sport beards in the form of green moss-like appendages, as
I'm sorry. The idea of just growing moss as a beard, that's just hilarious to me, man. Oh, wow.
shown by this line. As you jump in, a vast figure appears on the view screen. The rock captain rubs the green moss-like appendage on his skin and then orders his crew to open fire.
Oh my god.
This is such a surprising description to find, because it's the only one that shows the rocks can be anything other than rock, which shows you that they're not just reanimated stones, but have their own freaky biology. We can also see their brute nature from their ships and style of fighting, as they favor missile-based weapons, and their ships are bulky and rely on heavy armor for protection.
Yeah, I mean, not being able to break someone's ship is usually a good way to deal with things. Are you going to have heavy armor and shields? Or is it more you just get what you get? I don't quite know.
The ships also look like armadillos, which was the inspiration behind their design.
Really?
Now for Rock Society.
Honestly, I was going more pillbug, but okay. Also, I'm being told by Martin, yep, that's why they have, or they need to have mucus. If they dry out, they suffocate. I thought that was snails. Okay, no, apparently not.
Which, as previously mentioned, is extremely xenophobic. They're very distrusting of other species and don't mix unless they really have to. For example, almost all the pirate encounters have a random crew composition, regardless of the ship, but the rock pirates that we see are operated solely by rock crew members.
Oh.
They're also trigger happy and have no qualms with firing on ships they aren't familiar with. The only exception to this xenophobia would be the Zoltan, as they are tolerant of their wisdom and have allowed them to establish a store in rock space in one instance.
Oh, wait, so they actually respect wisdom. Probably because these guys just know them, because they're the old race, if I'm remembering right.
On the off chance that a Rockman decides to work with other species, they are shunned, abandoned, and punished for their transgression, as shown by this line.
Oh.
You come across a rock trading post. It's rare they deal with outsiders, but they need to sell the last of their stock, and will pay their dues for their transgression when they return home. In another line, it's also highlighted that they prefer seclusion, and are paranoid or dislike the idea of being in the vicinity of races other than their own. The event reads, a rock ship is silhouetted against the sun in supernova. They hail,
"Even out here you follow us. We will wish to be left alone."
Out of panic or anger, they charge their weapons. The reason for this extreme xenophobia...
Interesting that they're actually more, or, well, hermits, yeah. And just wishing to be left alone, because it almost seems like because they work with the Mantis, I was assuming they were more aggressive, but maybe I'm missing something.
...can be simply traced back to their religion, which indoctrinates rocks to believe that any race other than their own is to be mistrusted, and to strictly avoid positive interaction with them. And eventually...
I'm assuming they dealt with the slugs a lot, and that's how they got that trait. Because if you've dealt with the slugs, that sounds about right.
...shows how they filter the information that is accessible to their race. It looks quiet, but you realize your computer is being scanned. A hidden rock vessel hails you.
"Why do you fill your computer with lies? These are not the holy words."
Before you can interject, they open fire.
What?
Moreover, their government is a theocratic dictatorship, hence the propaganda. But we aren't really told what they worship or how their dictatorship is run. One theory is that they worship the ancient crystals, which are actually a playable race in the game, but it's never stated directly.
Wait, there's an entire race of crystals? Okay, that would probably be why they brought in the Steven Universe references earlier on.
One thing that can give us a clue is that you can find the crystal lockdown bombs in the rock shops, meaning they either still possess the knowledge to create that technology, or have kept the remnants of their ancestors with them all this time, and continue to worship them. Because of the strict cultural rules, class hierarchies, lies, and propaganda used to control the people, indoctrination, and many more things that make rock society unpleasant, some factions rose up to look for the truth and escape the rock regime. They are immediately regarded as outcasts. Another example of the
So there's also possibilities of other races having their own civil wars in the way that the main storyline for humans are as well. And the Rockmen are a sub-race of the Crystal's Iron? Okay, that kind of makes sense based on what's been said so far.
xenophobic teachings of the
What are the other
Rockmen
races?
is this line, which happens when you refuse to give over the aforementioned rock bride Ariadne for her arranged marriage. I was led to believe your kind did not know mercy. I will join you, but quickly, we must jump away. They will not tolerate. She's interrupted by weapons fire from the basilisk's escort. Also, reference to the basilisk is here, a mythical creature that turns you to stone when you look at it, or it kills you outright. Interpretations vary. Lastly, the Rockmen actually...
Also, there's a lot of different variations of the basilisk. I've actually seen some that are just chickens. And you can kind of see that here with the head. But this one is very serpentine without being a full serpent. It has multiple legs. Where most people know Basilisk from Harry Potter, which was just a giant snake. Again, different interpretations.
Sorry. Lastly, the Rockmen actually submitted to the Federation.
What?
And there is an example of a Rockman ship aiding you because they support your cause.
Oh!
I doubt this was voluntary, and they just did it because they wanted to maintain peace in the galaxy for their own purposes. While the Rockmen might not be as attractive a species as the others, they illustrate well what to avoid in a society, and how members of a tyrannical one will almost always try to seek and escape from the lies that they're being fed, even if it puts their life at risk. Now, onto their more elusive, and quite literally brilliant cousins, the crystals.
Oh yeah, the one they devolved from, I was told according to chat. Also, Martin, the chicken is the cockatrice? I think so, but I think they might have actually been very similar.
As ancient ancestors of the
Although I know the chicken for the basilisk is supposed to be like the crow of it is what gets rid of them.
Rockmen, they represent likely the final race you'll get to meet in the game.
Oh, their actual ship is made of crystal. That is really cool. Like everything else kind of looks like some form of metal. This doesn't. It looks like it's actually just a growth of it as well. Oh, that's so cool.
As both ways of unlocking them are sadistic as hell.
What?
You can either unlock every ship, including their B variants, or do this completely convoluted RNG-riddled questline that I'm not even going to touch on today. It took me around 638 resets to get. Anyway.
Whoa, some of those ships look really cool too. What the hell?
Once you do meet them, it's pretty apparent that they've isolated themselves from other societies for a long time, as their homeworld is locked behind an ancient device thingamajig that your crystalline companion can power on by transmitting some codes to it, which spawns a wormhole, and upon flying into it, you appear in the hidden crystal homeworlds. Now, same like the rocks, we don't know what type of crystals the crystals are made out of. This thread speculates it could be diamond because of their relatively high health, and another gives a more compelling theory, which I'll just read in full. Because of their shield-piercing ability, my thought is that the crystal must have a high vibration to disrupt the shield, and it must also be more...
Do crystals vibrate? I don't think they do, but maybe I'm wrong.
...focused towards harmony, since the crystals reject the aggressive nature of the Rockman culture. Finally, the crystal must be varying shades of blue, and one for red for the crystal cruiser layout B. I think the closest correlation to an earthly crystal would be Haween. If we take a look at the crystal he mentioned, it looks pretty...
Okay, one, that's remarkably brilliant. Like, that's a very deep blue, and the smaller sections are... Sorry, I just love these kind of cutout gems. They're so cool to look at. I used to work in a museum where we had an entire hall of minerals. And it was just all of these tiny and large and minuscule and intentionally cut pieces of just incredible beauty and clarity. And I just love looking at them. This is so cool to see.
Similar to the crystals we see in game, and possesses all the right properties. So if the crystals were based on earth materials, this could very well be it.
Dude.
If anyone watching is a mineral expert, feel free to comment what you think these guys are made of. It's also mentioned in the game that their methods of creating said crystals are unknown. You arrive near a civilian settlement. It looks like their homes, ships, and stations all rely heavily on an intriguing crystalline material.
Oh, they actually just grow crystals then.
You wonder how they're able to create so much of the substance as yet undiscovered in the rest of the galaxy. It could be...
Also, I'm being told by Martin there are minerals that make electricity when you bend them. I'm more surprised that the minerals would bend at that point. Huh.
As simple as
and the crystals pierce through shields,
as in real life, or some other magical way that's specific to their species. The former makes more sense to me. Now, these crystals don't just constitute their bodies, but they use it in weapons, ships, bombs, and a whole slew of other stuff.
I wonder at what point does the crystal men start becoming what they grow, or are they always separated? Also, Martin mentioned it was a form of quartz, possibly.
It's kind of strange to think about. It's like if we made guns out of human flesh and drove in cars made of enamel or something like
Let's not go into the Dahmer of this one.
that. It's funny because I bet that if our bodies produced something as useful as crystals, then it would 100% be used in production, and it would not feel weird whatsoever. I mean, some people drink piss for health benefits and some...
I'm sorry, what? I thought that was a joke. I've heard about it. I thought people were just, you know what, I don't... You know what? I'm just going to pretend he never said a word and move on.
Other disgusting stuff, and that's just based on pseudoscience. One line that sheds a lot of light on how long the crystals were in solitude for is this. which happens when some crystal scientists require to scan your crew to learn more about their biology and structure,
Oh.
and you give them a Rockman.
Ah, my dear evolutionary cousin, this is truly wonderful. We have countless historical records of your kind, but we lack information on the past few hundreds of years. We can learn so much from these scans. We must get to analyzing them as soon as possible. Please, take this.
So it confirms that they were once intermingling with the other races before shutting off for some few hundreds of years, until this moment. But why did they shut themselves out in the first place? Well, we're told that it's because of a falling out over the violent ways of their descendants.
And that might be partially why the Rock are so wanting solitude. Maybe that's a remnant of it, because when they were together, things fucked up. I could be very much projecting on that, and I've probably no way to find out otherwise.
The Rockmen.
Also, Valerian, have I seen the paramedic series? I've seen a few things from the firefighter department, but I've never seen something specifically for paramedics.
And so instead of trying to establish some sort of rule, they just dipped into exile to develop their culture in peace.
Yeah, it makes sense.
To be honest, that doesn't sound half bad. They just had enough of everybody's BS and went off to do their own thing.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds wonderful.
And it seems like they made the right decision, as we know that they've basically created a utopia.
Valerian, I don't know what you're
this one.
talking about.
No ships are in range, so we take the time to scan the area. It seems like every planet you've seen so far shows signs of highly developed habitation without overpopulation. They must have a very structured and well-regulated society. Now, one thing that bothers me about the crystals is how you learn about them, and that's the damaged stasis pod. You come across this thing in a ship quoted with, quote, ice or crystal that's floating in an asteroid field. And if you give it to Zoltan scientists on a Zoltan research field, they give this comment. Interesting. I've never seen a cryogenic system like this. It appears to still be functioning. They hook it up to their system and run a number of tests on it. Amazing. It has the ability to reconstruct the body if it was damaged during transit. Watch.
A stasis pod that just rebuilds bodies. Not, I guess you have clone facilities, so that might be one thing you can do. But this would be just spot cloning exactly what needs to be replaced. That's actually kind of cool.
Activate the pod, and you watch as the hunks of crystal inside form to build a humanoid structure. The pod slides open, and the reformed alien steps out.
And then it might also be how they're building things. They're literally just using their own flesh, building technology, just not for them.
It speaks slowly. Greetings. I appear to be in your debt. My people isolated themselves a long time ago, but perhaps it's time to re-establish a connection. There's a hidden wormhole near the rock homeworlds. Perhaps you can take me there so I can properly repay you.
This is probably how you get the crewmate.
So there are a couple of things about this. Why would the crystals even send out a stasis pod in the first place? It wouldn't benefit them to send out a way for them to be discovered. They even left the ancient device to make it possible to re-establish connection. It could be that they actually wanted to be discovered later down the line. But that doesn't make sense, because later on we're shown that when you open up the link, they're attempting to cleanse their homeworlds of any intruders. Also, when was ruined?
When they say attempting to cleanse, they mean exactly what I think, don't they?
Even put into the stasis pod, and how long was he in there for? He knows about the isolation, so it couldn't have been before it started. Maybe there was a crystal faction that didn't actually want to stay isolated, so they sent one of them into a stasis pod to re-establish it in the future, which is a terrible way of doing it if you ask me.
I mean, if the pod fixes you, then if you can, it's more like you just go to sleep and when you wake up, you're doing your job.
This sounds the most plausible to me. If you have any other ideas, though, feel free to drop them in the comments. When you opened up the wormhole to the crystal domain, you brought a lot of other curious travelers.
Is this game?
Unfortunately, the crystals weren't ready for any visitors, and so started rounding them up to continue their solitude. An event reads. You pick up chatter from a nearby ship. Yes, here are some interesting specimens. Try to take them alive this time. There's a lot of money to be had on aliens. Scanners indicate a remote teleporter was just used. Now, you can communicate with the crystals, and that's because of the universal translator that's mentioned here and throughout some events.
Oh, that's actually
it mentions an instance regarding the crystals. You receive an incoming transmission, but it appears badly garbled. Eventually, you realize it's advertising an equipment store.
Apologies.
This is the vendor, when you finally get him on the vid screen.
Long time since used universal translator necessary. Please, buy.
Oh, so that's to sound like before they turn, and it's translating on their end before projecting. See, that's actually stupid of me to point out, but one of the things a lot of sci-fi does is that the universal translators, when they do it, is a receiver based, like in Star Trek, where you hear it if you have it on, as the way they don't have to deal with multiple languages. But if that one, it's a projection based, so that if you don't turn it on your end, other people don't hear the right language, which honestly, both of them are basically magic, but it sounds so cool to do it either way because it's just that slight difference to show that they're aware of what the most common usage of that trope is, and they're just kind of slightly, just a little bit turning it on its head. I just enjoy that because it's novelty.
So we know that the isolation has been going on for at least a few hundred years, and surely after a time period as long as that, they would have done away with any technology that won't be needed in their society, like anything for communication with other races. So
But they
why
still
does
had
this
it.
merchant have it? And presumably the many other
I mean, assuming just because merchant, but
crystals you come in contact with and can talk with. I'm inclined to think that the writers just forgot about this detail, but there is the
Or it's a
possibility that the crystals
mistake.
are just massive hoarders, and perhaps they planned for this day sometime in the future, and so kept the translators. You know, just in case. Some more tidbits that are kind of confusing. There's this line here that says, "I've heard tales that our isolation finally ended." Tales? Don't tales take time to transpire? It could be just
yes, it's kind of like how in Star Wars, Mace Windu heard legends of Mace Windu's axe. I'm not going to elaborate on that.
a quirky way of saying, "I heard you all jump through the wormhole," and I'm probably looking too much into this. We also know what the crystals might call the aliens officially, or at least another nickname for them. "You have bested us. I will no longer underestimate you outsiders. Please, let us leave in peace."
They were underestimating them.
Outsiders is capitalized, and is probably something that's being taught to them, as there's this other line. "We would like to apologize for our xenophobia. You have shown that aliens can be compassionate, a fact unwritten in our history records. Please, take this."
I wonder if that would be due to the Rockmen in general, just because they were incredibly violent when they broke contact. Huh.
So their history doesn't display aliens in the best of lights. Another final event, which is the only one that mentions the time frame that FTL exists in even vaguely, it occurs when you meet with a crystal artifact collector and you offer him scrap. It reads, "My word, is this a 25th century Rockman thrust stabilizer? What do you want for it? Wait, I have a better proposal. I long to see the galaxy. I promise to come with you. What do you say?" I don't know why crystals are sometimes British.
Yes, that's just how it is. Yes. That's as close as I'm going to get to a British accent, and it's not going to get any better, and it definitely will get worse.
Shut up. So this tells us two things. One is that scrap is literally that, random stuff. And two, FTL is set sometime after the 25th century. And if we were to compare it to our Gregorian calendar, this feels to me like someone referring to the 16th to 18th century. So maybe it's set in like the 28th to 30th century? Who knows, it's all speculation here. One funny thing in this event is that the crystal who requests to join you actually has a family, and asks to bid them farewell before he joins you. These guys, or at least this specific example, is so starved for knowledge of the outside world, he leaves his family at the first notice for that. Incredible. And with that...
So crystals do have family. I don't know why, for some reason, I thought they were going to be asexual and not have families and just reproduce by, hey, new crystal growth, cool. Or maybe that is what happened. I don't actually know.
We have finished covering all the alien species in the game.
Oh, that's all of them?
Like, what their societies are like, and their role in the game.
Oh.
And what's left now is some miscellaneous details and some hidden Easter eggs and references that the game has sprinkled throughout.
Oh? Others that aren't mentioned directly? Trivia, miscellaneous, and Easter eggs. I do love me some Easter eggs. You know, I'm hungry. I shouldn't say that.
Pluto has shrimp, as shown by this event. They don't see many of your species in these parts, and you stick out like a Casvagrian sea slug in a Plutonian shrimp stew. You make it back to the ship with a gang of Zoltan guards in tow. There are two apparently intelligent alien species that aren't playable in-game. Some furry one-eyed tree lizard things. The local people, furry one-eyed tree lizard things, begin chanting when they see you. Suddenly the sky is lit by laser fire. The Zoltan opened fire on your ship, you dash back to the shuttle and join the fight.
Oh.
And six-legged ponies. You land a small shuttle in an enormous field, whose only occupants are small, brightly colored, six-legged, horse-like animals. Could they be what your scans picked up?
Six-legged horses. That's actually kind of cool. Oh, sorry. I love when just people throw out these weird things because it's always interesting to see what they come up with.
Their eyes are also huge.
What?
You try to communicate in every possible way you can, but they just stand there, silently judging you with their large, expressionless eyes.
I mean,
you prepare to leave.
To be fair, horse eyes are huge as well, so that's not saying much.
There are also giant alien spiders.
Why did they have to have the art for that? Oh, God. They're also only four-eyed.
But we're not sure if they're intelligent. And space whales, the event reads.
What?
Mantis crew here has hunkered down in the abdomen of a long-dead space whale. The only way, presumably, for them to operate their black market trade without detection. Worth a look?
Because if they're doing trade, that means they're hiding so that they don't get moitorized. Oh, wait, sorry, that was the other ones.
The Rebel emblem has the initials MFK on them, which, as said by the developer who put them on there, doesn't mean anything. But it likes to think they read out MFer. The eagle is also reminiscent of the coat of arms of Germany, for certain reasons you can probably figure out.
No idea why.
Now for the ship-related Easter eggs, of which there are many, as the names mostly follow a theme or hint towards the nature of the race that's piloting them. The kestrel, the red tail, and the swallow are all bird names.
And they have the same ship name, so it's ships for the bird of that class. Okay.
Their color schemes also resemble the three different factions: Federation, Rebels, and Pirates. The latter less...
Oh, so the pirates are an actual faction, not just a random... Oh, I thought he was reusing a specific event every time I saw the squid on it. But apparently not. Huh.
faction, and more each pirate fending for themselves.
Oh,
The
so
Federation
not really.
cruiser ships are the Osprey, which is also a bird, as well as the Frigatidae, which is this lovely looking red and black bird.
Okay, that's definitely a unique bird. I have never seen anything like that. I know it's like the chest pouch and it bulges. I've seen other animals with similar things like frogs, but I don't think I've ever seen one with a bulge that bright red to make it look like it's puffing out its chest. No, never mind. Not looking like it's literally puffing out its chest.
With an impressive gular pouch, as it's so called, to store fish and other prey while hunting.
Oh,
You'll notice the ship
that's
also sports
literally
the
a
same colors.
purse.
Layout B
in their
breaks
mouth.
the bird theme that the two Federation ships have and is called Nisos, the
What?
king of Megara in Greek mythology.
Oh,
The Engi ship names are all geometric terms that describe the shape of the ship. Torus, a ring. Vortex, which is a region in a fluid where the flow revolves around an axis line. I'm not sure exactly how this pertains to the ship's design,
damn.
but maybe it's referring to the revolving aspect, as drones end up revolving around the Engi ship. And the Tetragon, which is a four-sided ship, which the Engi ship is.
Yeah, makes sense.
The main Zoltan ship is called the Adjudicator, which is someone who presides, judges, and arbitrates during a formal dispute or competition.
And if they see themselves as the moral high ground and the superior species because of their age, that kind of makes sense.
Which makes sense, since the Zoltans are considered to be the most just species, and have been known to go on diplomatic missions for peacekeeping and such. The Noether, I'm not really sure, references Emmy Noether, who was a German mathematician who was described as the most important woman in the history of mathematics.
Oh?
The third one, Serenkov, could
Yeah, I have no idea about that one just because I don't know anything about math. And I like to keep it that way because it scares me.
be a reference to the Soviet physicist Pavel Cherenkov, or the radiation that he discovered, which happens, quote,
Chekhov radiation happens when electrically charged particles hit the proton electron travel faster than light in a clear medium like water. When this happens, the water molecules and the particles interact to give off light. Also known as, if you see this, you're too close.
when electrically charged particles, such as protons or electrons, travel faster than light in a clear medium like water. When this happens, the water molecules and particles interact to give off light.
It does look
Now
cool.
this begs the question, how is it possible that these particles travel faster than the speed of light? Well, it's because of the fact that light slows down when it enters a medium other than a vacuum, in this case water. So the particles that are emitted from the nuclear fuel move faster than light in water. When these particles disrupt the water molecules, photons are released, which creates the blue light seen here.
Cherenkov radiation captured inside the Advanced Test Reactor at Idaho National Laboratory. It does look so cool, though, and it's not like a little glow. It's a lot of glowing. Like, if you told me this was a real thing, I would assume this is like some kind of crazy AI the first time I heard about it. But it looks so cool. Oh.
The Gila monster is named after a venomous lizard. I
Yeah.
love this thing. It literally has monster in its name. It's also one of the only two venomous lizards in the world.
What's the other
The
one?
other being the Mexican beaded lizard.
Oh.
The basilisk is self-explanatory, as we've already mentioned it before.
Yeah.
And the Theseus refers to the ship of Theseus. It just so happens that I've already covered this in a recent...
So, monster, and... Oh, a ship that's made of so many parts that would be monstrous. Okay.
video of mine, which you should check out if you like horror games and philosophical tangents, so I'll just play the explanation from that. The ship of Theseus refers to a ship that, on its travels,
What the fuck had him go into what looks like a game at, like, Fallout New Vegas or something, which is covered in spiders? Oh, God.
had every single part of it replaced over a long period
The USS Constitution, a ship that underwent so many repairs it has little original material left. And every time I've heard this brought up, I'm going to bring out the same thing. That is literally how the human body works and every other organic body it does. Because none of our original cells are part of us. They're always growing and replacing, meaning that your body is literally a wave of existence that you just happen to ride along with.
of time. At the end of that voyage, is it the same ship that it started as, or is it a completely different one, with a different identity? It's a fascinating thing to think about, and what's more is that the philosopher Thomas Hobbes added to it by supposing that a custodian gathered up all the parts that the ship had removed throughout the years and used it to build a second ship. He then asked which of the two ships, the original or the custodian's, was the original one.
I'd personally say the one that had the continuous existence, but that's just because more of a wave than anything else. Also, Haga, every 7 years, give or take, that's just because not every cell is a 7-year time period. Some are actually way faster, and some are way slower, which I think the upper end was supposed to be 7 years, although I don't know if they know some are taking longer or not. I've heard that they do have replaceable neurons, and it's a very slow changing process, but I'm not sure if they're the ones that take 7 years or not. But yeah, by the end of 7 years, everyone has been replaced, but it's not all of them replaced in 7 years. That would be horrible. One of the ways that happens that people might have heard about, though, is that thing that happens to women once every month. Technically, that is an example of that happening en masse with an entire grouping of cells. I'm not saying it either because I don't want my wife to hear it and then start judging me more than she already does.
The wiki also has an interesting theory as to why it's named that, and it's because the ship is outfitted with a clone bay. And yeah, that's a good example of the thought experiment if I've ever seen one. Man o' War refers to the dangerous jellyfish with the same name, which is very pretty.
That's what it
The
looks
reason
like?
it's called that is because it kind of resembles an old warship at full sail when it sits above the water. The Stormwalker could refer to the fact that the slug roam the nebulas, which tend to have a lot of storms within them.
Yeah.
And the Airier, which is my favorite ship name in the game. It's the genus for the banana slug, which, I mean, yeah, apt
Oh, yeah. No, that matches both in the bulbous shape as well as the coloration.
name. I want to eat it. Cruos is
Also, I'm being told by Martin, 7 years are just when all the parts would have been replaced. Not that any has a lifespan of 7 years. Honestly, I don't know what some of them are. The neurons I know have a really weird lifetime, but I just don't remember what it was.
Greek for icy cold and frost.
What?
Probably referencing the lack of oxygen they cause and their metallic bodies. Shrike also has multiple references.
I'm sorry, the bird that is real, that impales its prey on spikes, and then inspired the shrike in fiction who impaled its prey on pain spikes so they suffered eternally. Oh, that is terrifying.
It's a real-life bird of the family named Shrike, which the largest genus of it is called Lanius. It's also the name of a fierce and metal creature renowned for
Yeah, actually, that's literally the one I was talking about, yeah. Hyperion Cantos.
suddenly appearing, slaying its victims, and vanishing again in the science.
Which was also a spoiler for the Hyperion Cantos, an AI created by a future AI. So it was a little metal or literal metal monster sent back retroactively from a future where the AIs won and wanted to destroy everything that couldn't get in their way. But then its directives kept changing because the past still infected the future. So sometimes it would be beneficial, sometimes it wouldn't. That is such a loaded name with so much history behind it. Unturned 2% battery. Dear God, no, dude, go off charge. Because as soon as you have 0% and you can't take anything, something important will happen. It's always going to happen like that.
Fiction novel Hyperion by Dan Simmons. It's also the name of a nearly indestructible killer robot that uses knife-like claws in the book Mortal Engines by Philip Reeve.
I forgot about that
Lanius
completely.
ships also strongly resemble the Shadow ships from Babylon 5. Bulwark is a solid wall
I've never watched Babylon 5. I tried watching the first episode once, somewhere I don't remember. or how. I don't even remember where I saw it or how to get it again. But I remember it just didn't strike me. I heard the first few episodes are rough, but it got better. I just never got to it.
Like structure raised for defense. The Shivan refers to an alien race of the same name in the game Descent to Free Space, which is more apparent when noting the color scheme.
Yeah.
The Shivan race also has bombers, which utilize an enormous amount of armor plating, much like the rocks.
Oh, so literally
the last ship
XP.
has a pretty interesting name, Tektite, which refers to, quote, small pebble-like glassy objects of Earth material that have been melted by meteorite impact, splashed up into our atmosphere, and fallen to Earth again under gravity. They often acquire aerodynamic shapes when they partially melt on the return journey. Their name originates from the Greek word tektos, which means molten. Another interesting tidbit is that the earliest record we have of...
So that's actually a thing where things melt from impact, flung into the air, and as they're melting, they're cooling in an aerodynamic form because they're still liquid enough to be impacted by it without having to just reorient. Oh, that's actually kind of cool. Oh, dude.
them was from a Leo son, who gave them a name meaning Inkstone of the Thunder God, which is a pretty hardcore name to give to a mineral. The one discrepancy with this ship and its name is that its color isn't congruent with the mineral it's named after, as the colors they appear with don't include the shade of blue. It's probably...
Also, I'm being told by Raw. If I have to read this comment, I must subject everyone else to it. Yep. Fun fact, Fallout has giant spiders. They're in Fallout role-playing game. None in the video games. Lost chance by Bethesda. But don't worry, a lot of modders helped fix that. That's definitely a word. That is a word to describe it.
Because there's a crystal crew member and a crystal weapon come with the ship, and it's colored blue to reflect that.
Oh.
The stealth cruiser has 3 variants. The Nasasio, which is the genus for an animal called the fearful owl.
Oh, really?
The developers really like birds,
shit.
huh?
Yeah.
The DA-SR-12, which could be a reference to the
SR-71.
Normandy SR-2 from Mass Effect.
Oh, yeah, it kind of makes sense because that's also supposed to be a stealth ship. But every time I hear SR, I immediately go, probably what the Normandy was named after with the SR tag, because the SR-71 is a stealth reconnaissance plane that was made by the military as well.
The color scheme doesn't really support this, I don't think, but apparently it's an advanced stealth frigate which has a high-powered beam weapon as its main gun, which fits the DASR-12 to a T.
Yeah.
The glaive beam is a shredder. Simo H references Simo Pauha, maybe, who was a Finnish World War II.
I thought it was Simo. Oh, that's what he looked like? Yeah, I know about this guy. He's the highest kill count sniper, I think. And I don't mean in World War II. From what I've heard, the highest. Not specific, just there.
To a sniper nicknamed the White Death. You can guess why he was called this, as it is believed that he has killed over 500 enemy soldiers during the Winter War, the highest number of sniper kills in any major war, and so is regarded the deadliest sniper of all time.
Maybe that was a stroke because his face looked like he was drooping on one side. Still crazy, though.
And finally, the Crystal Cruiser has 2 variants. Bravice, which is a reference to the Bravice lattice, which refers to the different 3D configurations into which atoms can be arranged into crystals.
Oh, I had no idea about any of that. Granted, this is geology and mineralogy, and I am not an expert in that in any way, shape, or form. Even just passing awareness is kind of beyond me sometimes.
And the Carnelian, which refers to a mineral with the same name and the same color.
I'll be honest, if I had seen this somewhere, I would not think that's a rock at first. Like, if you touch it, sure, but between the glistening and the fractal pattern inside of it, it looks like some kind of organ that's just cleaned up. Maybe that's just my take on it. That's kind of creepy, man. Cool looking, though.
And with that, we've covered all the ship-related trivia. But there is still some more trivia sprinkled about in the achievements, weapons, and other stuff. I'm getting these mainly from the wiki, by the way, which has a pretty decent page on this, although I can't vouch for its completeness, or its accuracy, as I saw Bulwark being mentioned as a mineral there.
Oh.
This game references a lot of Star Trek, and is shown clearly in the achievements, as we have Tough Little Ship, which is a direct quote from William Riker about the USS Defiant.
Wait, that was a direct
United
quote?
Federation.
What was the Defiant in? You know, I thought I knew a lot of Next Generation, but I don't remember that at all. Maybe something I missed that. That means I can go back and watch more. Nice. It's too bad they never made a sequel that was any good, or had a sequel at all. Not talking down DS9, of course. Never really got into it, but I have nothing wrong with it either.
Refers to the United Federation of Planets. Bird of Prey refers to the Klingon Bird of Prey, a type of warship used by the Klingon Empire. Given her all, she's God Captain, a line said by Scotty.
Oh, even I know that one. I never actually watched the original series because It just wasn't on TV when I came in, but still,
Our
even I know
fleet
that
officer,
line.
And no red shirts here, which refers to the expendable characters in the show. You will
Yeah, every time you wore a red shirt in the initial series, you died. And sometimes in, well, a lot of the other series, it became a running joke.
unlock this achievement when you get to Sector 8 without losing a single crew member.
Sector 8?
There is one achievement that refers Star Wars, and that's the guns they've stopped, which was said in Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, during the attack on the Death Star. The third Star Wars Easter egg I could find is that if you run out of fuel and wait for someone to hail you, a ship that can find you is described as a modified Y2-1300 freighter. Obviously
Freaking put in the Millennium Falcon.
used for smuggling, which refers to the classic Millennium Falcon. There's also I
that's
don't need
so
those stinking
cool.
upgrades, which references a well-known misquoted line from the Treasure of Sierra Madre, which is
What?
actually a German novel titled
Oh.
Der Schatz der Sierra Madre. Trustworthy Autopilot refers to HAL 9000 from 2001: A Space Odyssey. Its icon also makes this ever more clear.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense because it's literally just the eye. Or, well, it's functionally an eye. It's a lens.
And finally, some miscellaneous info that I've missed. So I had some help with the research/info for the script from the lead writer, Kix, of Multiverses, which is
Oh.
a massive expansion mod for FTL. And they had an
So the game, maybe if it's not being worked on anymore, is still getting updates from the fan community. Cool that they're allowed to do that because some games really don't like that. And then there's Bethesda, who lives on mods and still tries to close them down so they can make payments. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Creation Club.
interesting theory about the great
And Sector
secrets
8 is
that
The
we
Last Stand?
supposedly
Oh.
know that's going to bring down the rebels. It reads, "This is a bit of conjecture, but I think it makes sense. At the beginning of the game, we're told that we, and we alone, know some great secrets about the rebel flagship that is vital to winning the war. Yet we never actually learn what that secret is. The flagship has multiple phases, but this takes the player by surprise, so that can't be the secret. However, the rebel flagship also has an AI mode that activates when you kill all of its crew. It's worth noting that the rebels are also the only faction with autoships in the game. Plus, the purpose
So they do have auto ships, but it's just the one? Also, Luna, I'll pull up your comment quickly. One, thank you very much, too. Haya's facial disfigurement occurred on March 6, 1940, during a close quarters battle. An explosive bullet struck his lower left jaw. And he kept his lower left jaw. God damn. That's actually pretty hardcore.
of a flagship, by its very definition, is to carry the admiral of a fleet. No mentions of the actual rebel admiral are present in vanilla. My conclusion?
Does that mean that the rebels are actually an AI faction fucking with everyone?
The flagship harbors an AI admiral that also controls the autoships, and defeating it shuts down their auto fleet. But again, that's just my conjecture. I personally think this is a satisfying theory, because, as mentioned, only the rebels have the autoships, and it could be that they're building stronger models that would just be mass-produced and be a major advantage to them.
But if the auto ships are run by the admiral who's in the flagship, and it's the one controlling everything, and the people are just there, it almost seems like they're being used as a cat's paw at that point. I can't really say enough about that.
This is also supported by the fact that the AI mode of the flagship is way more powerful than when it is controlled by the crew, so it would spell utter destruction for the Federation if every single ship they were fighting against was controlled by a ruthless, powerful AI. And lastly, this little fact, which I think is a nice bit of lore integration.
Oh?
So FTL had an Advanced Edition update, which was released around 2 years after the main game. This added the
2014.
Lanius, among many other things, including the hacking technology. Now, this might seem obvious to some people, but the addition of the update is actually in line when it was added in the FTL universe, as shown by this line.
Oh, so they actually added in-universe reasons for why hacking is now a thing.
The Engi were quick to adapt to the sudden urge of hacking technology. This ship is the result
Surge, not urge. Okay, yeah.
of their research. So along with the Lanius, the various weapons and drones, systems, and everything that was introduced was either being invented at the same time that the Lanius came, or my theory, which is that the technology was copied from the Lanius ships that people salvaged and was distributed across the galaxy.
Oh.
Faster Than Light is a surprisingly immersive game, and that's mainly thanks to its lore and its solid, addicting gameplay loop.
What is
The
the
role
loop
of a
look like?
captain is immediate.
It's a funny thing because we've talked about the game so much in lore, but I don't actually know how to play the game any better. Because I'm just seeing people moving around, having combat, going to med base to heal, firing off things and seeing how they hit. I don't actually know how any of this interacts. But again, it's more of a sim, so there's probably a lot of micromanagement.
Bestowed upon you, and if you don't live up to it, then neither will your crew. It's a shame that it's not as known as other roguelikes.
Also, I'm being told by Raw something very interesting. There is a spin-off version that is legally distinct, not 40K, called Void's War, and I think they got permission to do so. From FTL or 40K, because one is a little more inducing than the other. Either way, that sounds pretty cool, though.
Or just as other games, period. Some people also say that it doesn't have any lore, and, well, if this video is any proof, then yeah, I think it does. I haven't mentioned the music directly in this video, but to me, it's the highlight of the game. The soundtrack is simply phenomenal, and I urge you to give it a listen, along with
So that's probably what he's playing in the background right now.
With that, I hope you enjoyed the video.
Yeah.
And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Okay, that just seems like a fun game. I'm not sure if I would get into it because management is not my style, but I love anything to do with ships, man, because it looks so cool. Also, my question was answered. It was the FTL devs that gave the permission to use the mechanics. Oh, okay. That's honestly pretty cool. And all right, so my thoughts on FTL. The game seems to have a lot of depth. I'm not sure if I would enjoy the gameplay loop itself, but I love that it exists because it's a bunch of really cool lore with interactions and what seems like a really cool way to interact with everything. I just like this. Even if it's not for me, I like that it exists because it creates an interesting world to learn more about. And anything doing spaceships, even if I don't want to get into it, I just like that it exists. I like that they're bringing more of it. Anything with space in general, I'm kind of heavily biased towards, and it's definitely helping with that. Basically what I'm saying is if you guys haven't already, there's a link below to the original video. Hit it up. Did I leave a like? I did not leave a like yet. Don't be a me. Make sure to leave a like on the video too. Yeah, that'd be embarrassing. I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.